dairy products were kind of valuable because they weren't that common around here. So then the next thing, oh here, I'm still trying to read this if I can with one eye. Fruits, this will work. Fruits which had to be dried for consumption in winter included cherries, apples, pears, and plums. A liquor was also made of the plums. It's in some languages, Schligowitz is a brandy made from plums. But you know, we also have to remember in 1839, of course there were no freezers, there was no canning. Canning isn't that old. So imagine how are you going to get through the winter? Do you think maybe as the first frosts came in fall, you got a little bit panicked to make sure? Because you didn't go down to the store, there's no store either. It's either you and what you save or you're done. And now, by now the Indians were driven out of Wisconsin, so you couldn't even get the help from the Indians. So it was kind of tough going. Chicken and geese, they were great fowl raisers. The geese, of course, we know Pomeranian geese, and we're going to see a picture of the true Pomeranian goose. It's by bloodline. Geese were stuffed with chestnuts and roasted. Chestnuts don't grow here, unfortunately. Geese were also pickled. The meat was pickled and smoked for consumption during the winter. Again, the meat doesn't preserve either, so boy, you better either salt it, pickle it, or smoke it. Otherwise, it's not going to last for you. There were many of the vegetables that we use now, but again, what's so hard to ascertain is that when we say an apple, you know that first apples that came to this country, nobody ate apples out of hand. That wasn't the fruit to eat out of hand. That they made them into cider. That's what Johnny Appleseed was seeding apples for cider, and that's why he seeded them. If you know about breeding apples, you can't get a delicious apple from seed. So if you're putting seeds in the ground, you have no idea what kind of apple you're going to get. Most of them are sour, and that makes good cider. But they were just looking for cider apples, not for eating apples. So again, I found that there's probably a handful of old varieties. The Duchess, if you know that name, Duchess of Oldenburg, that apple might be one of the first apples that was ever used for eating and cooking.
So were the apples like little crab apples that we know, or what
Not
were they like?
Not necessarily. There were some bigger ones, but it's mostly the quality of the apple that's what was really in question. And I guess there were hardly any of them. Well, if you go out in the woods and you see apples that some farmer threw this core out and the tree came up, it's very rare to find a good edible apple. And there are all kinds of problems, like the skin is real tough and the fruit is sour, but it's like it's a coarse fruit that's not good for